Alright guys, I'm back. I've never ridden here before. It's kind of a back road that I've never even ridden on ever. And it's getting to be that time of year where you kind of got to take advantage of any days that are nice. Pretty soon it's just going to be, we get some snow around here, so snowy and rainy and cold for the next couple months. So I'm out here exploring a new road. I think I know where I'm going, but we'll find out. If not, I'll always go back, but we'll see. Anyway, I guess something I could talk about today would be, well, what do I really want to talk about today? I don't really know. There's a lot of things I could talk about. I guess one of the things I'd like to do is take this bike, at least across the state. Kind of on a longer ride. And the tough thing about that is, though, you don't really want to be all by yourself. Like I said, my dad rides a Harley. And so he might go with me, but I don't know. I've never really ridden more than 2 hours at a time, probably. So it'd be something new for me. And it's a lot of planning, I guess. Probably be like a couple days, at least 3 days total there and back. So you gotta probably stay at a hotel, but depending on what time of year it is, you might just be able to camp out if we go in the summer. Then again, I don't want to bring a whole bunch of stuff because I only have a backpack, and I'm not really interested in getting those. No offense to anyone who has them, but they look kind of dumb. The saddlebags, or whatever you want to call them, especially on a sport bike, they don't look that cool. But if I do ever do that, I might want to get them, because having a lot of weight in your backpack is not comfortable, and puts a lot of stress on your back and neck. So we'll see. I really do not know where I'm going. I don't think I want to go that way. Really nice day out today, though. It's getting kind of colder now. But, yeah, it's been beautiful out lately. Usually this time of year, we got a lot of rain, but, it's been nice out. I'd say right about now, I've been riding this bike for about a half hour. I'm starting to get a little uncomfortable. My legs are getting a little tired from not being able to stand up and stretch them. And, just the overall position is getting kind of I'm getting kind of tired. But it's definitely not too bad. Something I can cope with. Let's see if I know where I am now. Yeah, I think I do. This is a golf course up here, and then, oh yeah, and I'm right here in town. Okay, perfect. Awesome. we used to eat there. This brings back memories. Small fries. They had some good shakes and burgers there and stuff. Oh, there's that car that was just passing me. I knew I would see him down here. I knew it. I think here in this city and the city I live in, these are really close to each other, there's no laws on emissions. So you can have pretty much any kind of muffler or any kind of exhaust system, I guess, if you want. And obviously, that is not stock. That's the loudest shit I've ever heard. So now I gotta head back up the hill. I remember riding, I rode this same road in the summer with my Honda 450, like bobber, and man, that was scary. The roads here are like 55 mile an hour, 45 or 55, and I could barely keep up, and that bike was struggling. It was I got $600 for it. I sold it eventually, but man, that bike was sketchy. It's a 1982, and you had to warm it up for like 5 minutes before you rode it. And sometimes it would just die. And if you left it sitting too long, the battery wouldn't start. Or, I mean, yeah, you'd have to charge the battery up again. And it was a pretty sketchy bike. I'm surprised though, I put like 1,000 miles on it, so, and in like 2 months, so that's pretty good. I don't think any, well, just to tell you how bad it was, the tire had chunks taken out of it because the rear fairing was rubbing against the tire when I was riding it. In addition to, the bearing was so loose that it just popped like out when I was putting it into first gear. That sucker just popped out, and we had to get new bearings on it. But it was so old, and you know, everything was still there, but it was just so old. They pretty much needed, to be really safe, it needed one new everything: new tire, new wheel, you know, new electronics. The turn signals, only like one of them worked, and one of the back turn signals just fell off, and I never got around to soldering in the new one. And you know, just problem everywhere you looked. Nothing really worked all that well, but it ran, and I put like 1,000 miles on it. So I think everyone that gets into riding, especially if it's in a more populated area. Out here where I live, it's not too bad, so people can get away with it. But if you're going to be riding in traffic a lot, and the MSF course just isn't going to do it, because you never actually get on the road. You're in a parking lot, You never get above 20 miles an hour, and it doesn't simulate anything very well. So I really would recommend getting not like a 250, but like a, you know, some bike from like $1,000 to $2,000 that is pretty old, but it has, you know, relatively high miles, but it has been serviced well. And, you know, ride that for a year or so, or a couple months. Get used to the roads, and once you do that, you'll appreciate a nice bike so much more than if you just get a nice bike to start off with. I think everyone should ride a crappy bike, or at least a couple crappy bikes, and you know, fix them up a little bit and sell them for a profit, and then just keep moving on. And that's what I did. And I appreciate this bike so much. A bike that you can just turn the key and it'll start up and you can go. You know, before I had bikes that had the Kickstarter on them. They got, you know, they're carbureted. They got all sorts of problems that this bike doesn't have at all. So you'll appreciate it so much more if you just get kind of something cheap and you can ride for a while just to get used to the road, and then sell that and move on to something better. And that way you can actually respect the power that your bike has. If you came from nothing else and just started riding a sport bike, you'd just think that's normal. You know, ride a bike that has less power, and you know, you can use all the gears and get used to shifting. I think that's the best route to go. Like I said, you can do whatever you want, but you know, and if you have enough money to dedicate to a nice bike, go, you know, by all means do it. But if you just want to get into getting a bike and you don't have a ton of money, start looking at Craigslist for like $800 bikes, $600 bikes. Some people just don't want them. They're just like, you know, sitting in my garage, need some space, it runs fine, don't need it. You know, go pay them $600. Take the bike home, ride it, work on it, have fun with it, sell it, buy something a little bit better, and eventually you'll have a bike that's reliable, and you'll have a bike that's reliable and something you can have fun on without having to worry about anything. And some people will say like, oh, well, why would I want to worry about anything to start off with? Why would I just want to get a nice bike to start off with, you know? Good, that's a good point. It is. I'm just telling you where I came from, though. And I had a bike, my first street legal, like, dual sport bike, that I honestly could not ride it more than 5 miles at a time without something happening. Whether it be, it would turn off, like second gear would just not shift into it. It wouldn't be there. The headlight would turn off. Something went wrong like literally every 5 miles. And so I'd be on the road kicking that sucker over or walking it back home. And I think that's really a good experience. You need to get used to, you know, shit not happening, not working like it's supposed to, and fixing it, and it's going to help you out in the long run. So at least when something goes wrong with a nice bike, you'll be able to diagnose it, and if you can't fix it yourself, you can at least pay someone and tell them what the problem is, and that way you can you know, maybe watch them fix it or something. And if you're ever out on the road and you need to get back safely and it's cold out, or you can't and you're out in the middle of nowhere, you know, you need to be prepared, whether it's just like a spark plug issue or something more serious like you're leaking oil. You know, try to be able to combat that and get back to where you need to be safely. And with bikes like that, you know, that are new bikes, and they don't really have a whole lot of problems, but when they do, you want to have the knowledge to be able to diagnose it. With the older bikes that are people have ridden and stuff, I love those bikes. They have a lot of they have a lot of character to them. The bikes that people have had for 20 something years, and you're not going to have to pay a lot of money for it, but they have character, you know. Something's missing, this part only works when you're in second gear, or you know, it's stuff that you can say, hey, I'm not going to pay you your asking price because this is broken, and then you yourself can fix it, or you know, get it working the right way and save a lot of money that way. And that's part of the fun, you know, fixing something up and then being able to enjoy it. Man, I don't know if you guys, for those of you that ride out there, especially sport bikes, I know you guys get that feeling when you're going like, you know, you're going the speed limit or a little above the speed limit, and you're quickly closing in on the car ahead of you. And you're kind of like, should I use my brakes here or should I just coast out? And it's a scary feeling, especially when they come to like a complete stop and you're like, oh shit, I can't really stop. And that's only happened to me once. It was a story I told you in my previous video. I had to come to a complete stop and almost hit a car. So, you know, just got to be careful. Anyway, I'm gonna stop at this guy's shop and maybe say hi to him. So, anyway, this is going to be the end of this video. You guys have a good one.